What's going on, folks? Welcome to Goats Football Breakdown. How you doing? Week 8, man, week 8. And this is going to be kind of a double whammy deal. So, let's cover first where the teams, let's cover the games, and then we're going to cover, because we're at the halfway point. At least in my opinion, week 8, a 17-week season. I know there's still 9 games, but it is what it is. Week 8. I'm considering this to be the halfway point, even though it's 18 weeks technically, 17 games, but I mean, it's close enough because it's an odd number. So we're just going to call this our halfway point. Yes, some teams have had their buys, so the numbers are going to look a little skewed right now, and we'll go over it again, probably more around like the 3/4 mark. So we'll get somewhere close to in there. So let's cover the games first. Packers versus Cardinals. Huge fucking game of interest that I didn't put the fucking score in on. Packers 24, Cardinals 21. This is why I was trying to bite my fucking tongue for last week's video, because motherfucker. The Packers come in beat up, depleted due to injuries and COVID problems, specifically Devontae Adams. And they came in and they beat the fucking one undefeated team in the league. Sorry, this shit's all out of place. They came in and they beat the last undefeated team in the league. And honestly, a very, very good team, in my opinion. I think the Cardinals are a legit contending team. But if that's the case, where does that leave the Packers? Because right now, yeah, Packers are leading the group here, buddy. So the Packers, definitely not a pretty outing by this team. But you know what it comes down to? They beat the last unbeaten team in the league, literally on the last play with a pick. Rodgers went 22 of 37 for 184 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they rushed for 151 yards and a touchdown against the Cardinals defense. This game was honestly a bit of a surprise to me, given how depleted the Packers were going into it. Got to give them kudos for staying extremely strong in this game with their defense, and that is 100% the truth. Offensively, they were depleted, so that defense just went in there strong as shit, just expecting their offense to have problems. And surprisingly, the offense didn't do amazing, but they didn't do terrible. 151 yards on the ground is pretty good for the Packers. Cardinals. Definitely not the best outing for this offense. Odds are typically good that the Packers are going to put up at least 3 touchdowns at a minimum, so you know you need to put up at least 3 scores defensively, or you need to put up 3 scores offensively and defensively stand up against the Packers. Sad truth is that the defense did do a decent job at best, but the offense is what hurt them. Murray went 22 of 33 for 274 yards and 2 interceptions. And the last one being the very last Cardinals play of the game. He threw a pick in the end zone. Bad deal. And they rushed for a meager 74 yards. All 3 scores were on the ground, just not enough to offensively pull out a win. And that really is the truth, man. Kudos to the Packers on that one. 100%. So next game, Panthers versus Falcons. Man, this is a fucking coin toss, okay? This is a fucking coin toss. So the Panthers, they finally stopped letting Sam Darnold be a dumbass, and they took away his chances of doing so for the most part. He went 13 of 24, so almost just above a 50% passer rating for 129 yards, 0 touchdowns, but 0 picks. But they rushed for 203 yards against a shit Falcons defense. Kudos for at least trying to scheme away from your troubled areas for now. Nothing to really brag about, because honestly, they simply just beat the Falcons. That's not really bragging rights, at least not just yet. The Falcons, look, we know at this point that one huge weakness to this team is its defensive squad, and it's hard to say otherwise. The part that really got me is the one... the part that really got me with this one is the Panthers held their offense to 13 total points. That's really a step in the wrong direction for these guys, to say the least, as far as their offense goes. They just got outplayed. Defense to offense, as far as Panthers defense to the Falcons offense, they just didn't have it, man. Another game of interest for me. Titans versus Colts. Titans 34, Colts 31. Overtime game. So the Titans, my God, this team breaks my fucking head. It's not that the Colts are a terrible team, but they're certainly not in the realm of not being soundly beaten by this team. And it had to go to overtime for a win by a field goal after a pick. Like, what? Tannehill went 23 of 33 for 265 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and they only rushed for 93 yards. What hurt them the most right now is seeing what's going to hurt them the most right now without seeing their next game is just not knowing where they're going to stand without Derrick Henry since he broke a fucking bone in his foot. He has to have surgery. He's most likely out for the rest of the season or at least until the postseason. I mean, they're saying like 10 fucking weeks out, man. Yeah, that's the rest of the season. So if this team doesn't make the postseason, he's out. He's done. So if they do make the postseason, maybe we'll get to see him. Don't know. But yeah, this is a huge potential blow to this team's offensive scheming because everything is schemed off to their play action. We all know this. Time will tell, though. Again, defensive insanity for this one, and that's really stupid on the care. It's defensive insanity. That is the Titans. That's what we've got. And then the stupid carry on Tannehill with dropping 2 picks. I mean, seriously. Granted, they came back and they finished it out as they should have, but they really should have finished this game out in the 4th. They just should have. It should have never gone to overtime, in my personal opinion. This team, offensively, even if Derrick Henry being gimpy, offensively, this team has better offense to go against a team like the Colts and win. Now, the Colts, scrappy defense. Not amazing, but scrappy. They just didn't really put up... I don't know. They did good, okay? They held the Titans to under 100 yards rushing, and they got 2 picks off of Tannehill and held him under 300 yards. Yeah, they kept the Colts offense in the game. Not an amazing outing on the offense, but I expected... given who they were but it's not anything that I didn't expect given who they were facing. Where I see a huge problem is they just put entirely too much on Wentz with this one, and he just wasn't enough. He went 27 of 51 for 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and they rushed for 183 yards. And those 2 interceptions, by the way, were solely on Wentz's dumbass decision-making process at the end of the game, 1 in 4th quarter and 1 in overtime. The problem is this showed Wentz looking very much like his old flawed self from the Eagles. Like the Titans, not an exceptionally great defensive outing, and just poor care of the ball on the quarterback. I mean, kudos to the defense for keeping them in the game, but I mean, honestly, the offense just didn't have enough to finish it out. That's just really where it is. So Dolphins, Bills. Dolphins 11, Bills 26. The Dolphins, shit and underperforming squad. To be honest, I'm amazed they led in this game at all, which is the truth, they did. I don't want to hear about Tua's accuracy anymore, by the way. 21 of 39 for 205 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. And they only rushed for 68 yards. Yeah, nothing amazing with the Dolphins on this game. Aside from they did lead the game for a moment. The Bills, with the team that they were facing, this is why I say I don't see them as being for real yet. This should have been another blowout game for the Bills at a minimum, and they were behind the 8 ball until the 4th quarter. Yes, they won the game. That's great for them, but this is not a win that they should be holding their heads high on because they should have had this game in their hand from the fucking beginning. Sit high on the Bills all you want, man. Truthfully, sit high on the Bills all you want. I'm not saying that they're a bad team, but they need to shore up some shit if they really want to be a contending AFC team to go to the Super Bowl. If you can't just completely blow away the shitty-ass Dolphins at this point, you got some shit you need to straighten out if you're going to be for real. Bengals at Jets. Bengals 31, Jets 34. Yeah. Here's the Bengals. See, this is why I got to stop saying anything good about rebuilt teams that are performing well, because this shit just seems to happen. I think we're just going to have to call this the GOAT curse. Burrow went 21 of 34 for 259 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception, but they only rushed for 41 yards total. Yeah, that was not good enough. Burrow's failed screen pass for the interception was really a big problem at the wrong time, man. Bad, bad, bad timing. He tried to throw a screen pass through it right into the fucking arms of a fucking defensive end. Boom, interception, baby. And it was at the end of the game too, man. Just bad deal. Even with the shit personal foul call against their defense at the end, which it really was, it was a bullshit call. They shouldn't have allowed the Jets to outscore them. It's just that simple. Just not a good outing, not a good game for the Bengals overall. Really wasn't. The Jets. Just holy shit. You want to talk about a team that finally showed up with Robert Saleh's soul in that game. I mean, they bring in some random ass no-name dude named Mike White as a backup quarterback because their starter's injured still. So, Mike White, who? Really? Yeah, this dude goes 37 of 47 for 32 wow, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And by the way, I'm going to look at this because his yardage, he set something that hasn't been done since 2000, if I remember right. It was over 300 yards, 400 yards. Mike White went 37 to 45 for 405 yards. That's fucking bonkers. Okay, absolutely bonkers. 405 yards. Some random ass no-name dude. I honestly don't have words other than congrats for surprising the Bengals and beating them. Yeah, sometimes a team just needs a spark to get shit going the right way. Mike White was that spark this game. The dude in and just lit a collective fire under the asses of the Jets. We'll see if that lasts. I don't think it's gonna, but he was definitely fiery as hell in this game. No doubt about it. Steelers, Browns. The refs seriously need to be talked to about this game, okay? I mean, let's be honest, okay? The Steelers have been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Kind of confusing, okay? Truthfully. The Browns just beat to fuck, okay? I mean, just physically, injuries all over the fucking place. You got a quarterback playing, thankfully it's not his throwing arm, but you got a gimpy quarterback. You got one of your 2 running backs back. Back. A lot of back in there, isn't there? So yeah, Steelers 15, Steelers 15, Browns 10. This was another game of interest for me for both teams, honestly. Steelers, well, let's just call this game for what it was. These guys were just efficient, but it was an ugly game. Early in the game, they went for that damn trick play and a blatant roughing the passer call. Although it was the kicker was still a passer. He may not be a quarterback, but he was intending to pass the ball. He was not trying to forward the ball whatsoever as far as running it. His intention was to pass, and they didn't call a roughing the passer call, and it was a blatant fucking no call. Just absolutely blatant. Let's just be honest here, man. So they lose their fucking field goal kicker on a trick play. Props to them for just keeping the game alive beyond that point. Roethlisberger went 22 of 34 for 266 yards and a touchdown, and they rushed for 115 yards against that Browns defense, which is really surprising to me. The Steelers' running game hasn't been that good, so the Browns giving up 115 fucking yards? That's not nice. It says a lot given how good the Browns D-line and linebackers have been. I didn't see this. It didn't have to be amazing. It just needed to be enough, and that's exactly what this game was. For the Browns, wow. Just what a poor outing for this team overall. The defense gives up 115 yards on the ground, and the D-line was just literally getting bullied by the Steelers' offense. To top that off, the Browns secondary just looked rough at best. They were giving up just blatantly obvious passing lanes for Big Ben to throw to. Truthfully, Mayfield went 20 of 31 for 222 yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns, and they rushed for 96 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground. It's like, you know that the Browns are not built to be a high-scoring offense, okay? You just know that. They're an old, gritty style team. Neither are Steelers. These are two very gritty teams. And it's two divisional teams too. So it's just, it is what it is. But they've got to do a whole lot better than this. This was just a really piss poor game for the Browns. Eagles, Lions. Eagles 44, Lions 6. Eagles had 237 yards of rushing. Let's start that one out because that's the story of this game. Jalen Hurts went 9 of 14 for 103 yards total, and that's it. They literally just ran the ball nearly the entire game and took advantage of a really shitty team, and that's just what it is. The Lions, just trash. Sorry, but not sorry. It's just the truth. They're still without a win, and it shows. I keep saying that if you put the ball solely on Jared Goff, you are not going to win it. He threw for 222 yards, but they only rushed for a shitty 57 yards, and they lost a fucking ball on a fumble. You just cannot win with the way that the fucking Lions are playing right now. You just can't. Rams, Texans. This one surprised me. It wasn't even a game of interest for me, but it surprised me. Rams, my question is this, and only this. How the hell do you have a defense this good, yet you still give up 22 points to the Texans? The Rams' offense played efficient as hell and scored at will seemingly, but the defense legit allowed a terrible offense to put up over 14 points. Come on. The Texans, yeah, they lost to a fucking really good team. Not much else to say other than I'm not surprised with the outcome. Truth. 49ers, Bears. 49ers 33, Bears 22. 49ers, 4 field goals and 2 touchdowns, all on the ground. Well, the touchdowns all on the ground. Yeah, that's the story of this offense. No surprise that a Shanahan zone running team is that uses play action to get a shit ton of yards in the air, but only kicking. But they only score with kicking and rushing. It is what it is. Honestly, it's a Mike Shanahan trade. It's a Kyle Shanahan trade. It's like a Shanahan family tree thing. They're all about that zone running game. Okay, they just really are. They beat the Bears team for fuck's sake. I mean, it's not amazing. It's not shocking. I mean, and just given how bad the Bears offense has been, come on. There's no shock here. The Bears, 3 field goals, 1 touchdown in the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. I mean, I'm so confused with the offense and the defense both with this team. I'm honestly more surprised that this team's record isn't worse than what it is, especially given the way they've been playing. Yeah. It's the truth. The Bears are 3-5. I'm honestly amazed they're not like 1-7 at this point. Yeah. Patriots, Chargers, big game of interest for me because I wanted to see what the Chargers look like against that Belichick defense. It's been getting better and better and better. Patriots 27, Chargers 24. Yeah, that's a thing. Patriots, well, look at the Patriots down and out early in the season and trying to put things back together. And here they are taking on one of the better AFC teams and beating them soundly. Not to say that they blew them out, but they beat them soundly. That's exactly what it was. I mean, it's only a matter of time before Belichick finally figures out his damn defensive woes. And if there was ever a week to do it, it was this one. Granted, offensively, 4 field goals and one rushing touchdown. But with the defensive stand against the Chargers offense is where they were able to squeeze out a win. It's just the truth. I mean, Mac Jones, he looks like he belongs where he is. He's not amazing, but he's being fairly efficient for the most part. The Chargers, for all the talent with Justin Herbert, he is human. Definitely not one of his better games. 18 of 35 for 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, which is really where the killer was for them. Defensively, they tried to stand toe-to-toe with the Patriots, but in the end, they just didn't quite have it. Just not a great game for the Chargers. Jaguars, Seahawks, not a shocker. Jags 7, Seahawks 31. Jaguars. So yeah, no shocker here. The Jags are just playing bad ball all the way around, and this game is just another round of proof of that fact. The Seahawks have a ton of holes, and this game just shows how inept the Jags are as a team right now. Seahawks description, simple. Well, they took on a trash team and they won. Who's really surprised about this? Why I kept forgetting to put scores in. What the hell? Okay. Buccaneers, Saints. Buccaneers 27, Saints 36. Yeah. To the Buccaneers. Penalties, and then even more fucking penalties. I'll admit that some of them were shit calls, but Arians has got to get that defense under control with all these penalties. It's insane. It's been a big cause. It's been cause for some close games like this one. A fumble by Brady, which you would expect better than that. And also throwing the interception to allow the Saints to even stay in the game was crazy to say the least. To make matters worse, his second pick at the end of the game. Like, I honestly don't know what to say. It's like the Saints just have his number, dude. But it's bad. And it was the nail in the coffin that just killed it off for him. And I'm going to say this. Honestly, hearing Troy Aikman say, it's hard for Brady to figure out what the defense is doing. Seriously? Brady is the longest tenured quarterback in this league right now. You are not going to convince me that he can't decipher defenses better than what he's doing with the Saints. The Saints are just soundly controlling Brady's actions. So yeah, the Saints, man, regardless of the outcome, having Winston go out in the first half like that was rough. That horse collar tackle and ended up being a torn ACL and I think they said MCL damage. He's out for the season. That's bad, dude. I mean, they get, as far as we all know, they get Taysom Hill back next week, but Taysom Hill is not Jameis Winston, so God only knows where the Saints are going to go after this. But you got to give the offense credit that they really rallied and pushed hard back against the Bucs. Defensively, they certainly didn't let up against the Bucs. They were a bit reckless at times, and Brady did make them pay for it. But they certainly disguised it enough to keep Brady on his toes to make mistakes and kill off the game to take a win. Kudos to them for pulling out a last-minute victory. That's exactly what it was. Washington football team versus the Broncos. And the Broncos are a thing, man. The Broncos just traded off Von Miller after this game to the Rams. Are you fucking kidding me right now? That's like one of the best guys in your defense. I get the Broncos are about to probably start rebuilding, but seriously, man. Dude showed up to practice and that's when he found out. Day after they win. Football team 10, Broncos 17. Washington football team at this point, crap team facing a mediocre team. Imagine that the outcome is just imagine that the outcome is the mediocre team won, and that wasn't the Washington football team. What else do you say? The Washington football team is just not a good team right now. Not with Taylor Heineke under center. I'm sorry. Broncos, nothing amazing, but nothing god-awful either. Just meager yardage and scored efficiently. You know, they played. It was enough to win. That's it. Truthfully, that's it. Cowboys at Vikings. Cowboys 20, Vikings 16. Cowboys, no Dak Prescott truly does change the dynamic of this team's offense, to say the least. But they were certainly up to the task, barely. Cooper Rush, right? Cooper Rush went 24 of 40 for 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, and they rushed for 78 yards. Not exactly a mind-blowing performance per se from what we're used to seeing from the Cowboys, but considering the QB swap this week, it was certainly enough to get the job done at the end of the game. Defensively, they did look a bit weak against the run, but again, Dalvin Cook is one of those backs that can make a fair few defenses look bad at times, so I can't really fault them much there. They held the Vikings under 20 fucking points, so I'm really not surprised with the outcome, given how good this team normally looks. It's the truth. The fucking Cowboys look good this year, man. I mean, even with a backup QB in there, they won the fucking game. Not against an amazing team, but not against a horrible team. Just a mediocre team. Vikings. So look, the Vikings have been a play-action style of team for the last few seasons, and honestly, I think the Cowboys just schemed for that. They were far more successful in the run game, in my opinion, considering Cousins only went for 184 yards and a touchdown. Defensively, it's hard to fault them given that they really had nothing to work with in regards to tape for this Cowboy quarterback swap. It was really kind of uncharted territory for them to scheme against, but that's only the first half. The second half, they really should have rallied themselves together and tightened up a lot more than what they did. And they just let up enough to where the Cowboys were able to come back and win at the end of the game. So truthfully, in my opinion, the Vikings just underperformed in this game on both sides. They just really did. Monday Night Football game. Big game of interest for me, given how much of a fucking mess both teams are. Giants at Chiefs. Giants 17, Chiefs 20. Giants, my God, I thought Joe Judge was going to chew his fucking lip off at the end of this game. Yes, I agree that the personal foul face mask that they called on Kelsey definitely appeared more like they probably grabbed on his chin strap and not his face mask, which definitely is not what was called. You see plenty of guys' chin straps get grabbed. They don't call face mask on that because it's not their face mask. So yeah, it was kind of a bullshit call. Bad deal for the fucking Giants defense on that one. I don't honestly think it would have changed it though. Okay? I don't think that it really would have changed the outcome because the Chiefs were all about moving that ball down the field on that last drive, which was the game-winning drive. So it is what it is. The commentators just kept going back to that non-interception throw that Mahomes made on an offsides call. Like he knew the D lineman jumped the line, so he just chucked the fucking ball. Yeah, did he chuck it in a triple fucking coverage a few times this game? Yes. But he chucked the fucking ball on a fucking hope and a prayer, knowing that he had a penalty that, you know, no matter what the outcome of the play was, if it was a good play, they'd keep it. If not, they'd take the penalty. I'm sick and tired of commentators with any quarterback when they throw a boneheaded pass, but they know that there's already a penalty there for an offside. So whatever. It's just stupid. I'm tired of hearing that crap. It's not just a Mahomes thing. They do it to multiple quarterbacks. I mean, let's be honest. If the Giants player hadn't jumped off sides, Mahomes would not have thrown that ball. It was obviously just kind of a fucking floater. Well, let's see where this goes. So yeah. Overall, not a great game for the Giants, but this is a team dealing with a mountain of fucking injuries. So I really wasn't expecting greatness out of them in this game. I really wasn't. Going against the Chiefs defense, I was expecting them to score, but I wasn't expecting them to look really amazing. So a quick note. I typed this out on Friday. My note was, note for the Sunday night game, if the Chiefs lose this game, this is literally almost no hope to salvage the season, given the direction that they've already been going. Okay? So that's obviously because the game was won. I obviously typed that in beforehand. So let's cover this game. Ugly, ugly, ugly. One interception. Again, not on Mahomes in my opinion. Yeah, it was thrown a little funky, but it was catchable. Man, these fucking receivers, I don't know what the fuck is going on with these goddamn receivers right now. One interception and 2 fumbles. Thankfully, they at least recovered one of them. Yet again, ball security comes into question with this offensive squad, and I have no fucking answers or ideas as to why, other than just poor fundamentals. I don't know what the hell is going on with this O-line either. You spend this much fucking money and you build an offensive line like this. Mahomes made the statement at the end of the game, oh yeah, the guys kept me clean. The fuck they did. He didn't get sacked a ton, but he was definitely not comfortable in the pocket. It's like they built the team to run, but fuck pass protection. He hasn't had a lot of that this season. This O-line is not as good as everybody's trying to say it is. I mean, I'm watching every single fucking game. This O-line is nowhere near as good as what the fuck they're saying. And for the amount of money that they're dumping into these guys, come the fuck on. So like I just said, I don't know what the hell is going on with this O-line. I don't know what's going on with Mahomes. And I don't know what the hell is going on with Kelsey this season. But I can tell you this. They're leaving blood in the water for the contending teams to sniff out and come feast upon. Defensively, I mean, what a fucking mess. This squad is playing poorly, to say the least. They bring Sorensen in on limited snaps, and even on the limited snaps, he still gets himself out of position with obvious safety help in the middle and gives up a big-ass touchdown. And they couldn't stop the run for shit. And that's against the team's backup running back. And their pass coverage was just sloppy at best. I'm honestly amazed that they came back to win this game, given how the team played through 3 quarters. It's just the truth. I know people keep saying that there's a lot more season to go, but folks, I'm here to tell you right now, we're pretty much at the halfway mark of this season. And if this team keeps staying consistently mediocre, they're not going to the fucking playoffs. They've got to fix this shit. And that's something that I did not think that I was going to say for this season. That's 100% the truth. Now, let's cover the overall standings. The league standings at this point, at the end of week 8. The Titans lead the AFC in the number 1 spot at 6-2. The Raiders are at 5-2 because they had their bye week. Ravens are at 5-2. They had their bye week. I don't know how I fucked that up. Oh yeah, the Bills are at 5-2. They also had their bye week, but they did play, obviously. So there's your top 4 divisional teams. And then your 3 potential playoff teams right now. Bengals at 5-3. Steelers at 4-3. Chargers at 4-3. Yeah. And then the 4 teams in the chase to try to get back into this shit. Patriots in the number 8 spot. The Chiefs in the number 9 spot. The Browns, number 10 spot. Broncos in the number 11 spot. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm almost positive that the Broncos are going to consistently keep falling. If the Colts can get a few things worked out, I think the Colts are going to overtake the Broncos in that position. But I mean, that's 11 out of 16 teams. What's left beyond the Colts? I mean, or what's left beyond the Broncos? Let's put it that way. You've got the Colts, not great. You got the Jets, definitely not great. You got the Jaguars, crap. Texans, crap. Dolphins, crap. Yeah. NFC, Packers are now number 1 in the NFC at 7-1. Cardinals, number 2 at 7-1. Cowboys, number 3 at 6-1, I believe. Because I think they had their bye week already, didn't they? Yes. So the Cowboys are 6-1. Buccaneers 6-2 at number 4. Why I didn't change that one? Oh, not 6-5, 6. Stupid. So yeah, that's your top 4 for the NFC: Packers, Cardinals, Cowboys, Buccaneers. The 3 wildcard teams would be the Rams at number 5 at 7-1. The Saints, number 6 at 5-2. The Panthers, that ain't gonna last. They keep going the way they're going. That ain't gonna last. Panthers at 4-4. Teams chasing. The next 4 teams chasing are the Vikings at 3-4, the 49ers at 3-4, the Falcons at 3-4, and the Eagles at 3-4. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, the only team swap that I could see happening right now is like the Eagles are not going to get much better. I just don't see it. The Falcons are not going to get much better. The 49ers have the potential to get better if they can kind of square away some injury issues. They've got a shot, but they're not playing exceptional ball right now. I think the Panthers are going to get worse. And I think the Vikings or the 49ers have got the chance to come in and snag up that number 7 spot. But again, the Saints are the big question mark. Like, where are the Saints going to go? How are the Saints going to look with Jameis Winston not being in there? Because he was looking really good up until that really shitty-ass horse collar tackle that put him out for the season. And just like the Saints sitting in the number 6 spot, I mean, you could be talking in 5 weeks' time from now, all of a sudden the Saints are out of it if they don't play well. And then all of a sudden, no Saints, no Panthers at the bottom, and the Vikings and the 49ers are in there. Or maybe even the Seahawks right the ship. Don't know. The bottom end of the NFC wildcard race right now is interesting as fuck. Because it goes from exceptional first 5 teams to nobody knows what the fuck is going on beyond that. The AFC is very much more tightly contested at the moment. And honestly, the Titans are in that same fucking position, man. They really are. The Titans are in such a weird position right now. Because, I mean, divisionally, you figure, you've got the Titans, the Colts, the Jaguars, the Texans. Well, the Jaguars and the Texans are no threat. But if the Titans don't work with what they're getting, and they did pick up Adrian Peterson right now, who's 36, for Christ's sake, a 36-year-old running back. I just don't see it, dude. I don't see him being able to really deceive very many defenses on a play action game with their other running backs. So I just don't. But I mean, if the Titans can't maintain what they're doing and their defense keeps going up, down, up, down, up, down, that actually does open a door for the Colts. If the Colts can right a couple of things and get Wentz under control, they could at least make a run. Do I think that they're going to do anything with it? No. I don't think that the Colts have quite enough pizzazz to really carry themselves too well through the playoffs. I just don't. Like, I think the Colts will end up being at the bottom end of the divisional leaders if the Titans don't. But we'll see. So that's where we stand for week 8 and my mid-season overall standings review. That's an interesting picture right now, folks. So that's it. That's all. And a story in the line. I'll catch y'all later. Alrighty?